What's up, everybody? So earlier today there was a leaked description of the first Avengers 4 trailer going around online. It sounds really awesome, and it makes a lot of sense for the first trailer, and a lot of people who have already read it or heard about it have been freaking out as well, saying that it is in fact truly awesome. So I did a video about it earlier today, just going over the description. In this video, I'm going to break it down and talk about what each scene means. There is no real way to know how legitimate this is, but if it is true, there are some huge spoilers, so you have been warned. There were some leaks that came out before Infinity War that ended up being true, so again, spoiler alert. I'm still giving away copies of Avengers Infinity War on Blu-ray and Ant-Man and the Wasp, some special edition posters and memorabilia. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is be a subscriber, like the video, and comment below with your thoughts and your favorite superhero. So again, final warning for spoilers, and I'm just going to read this as it's stated. If you caught the last video I did on this and heard the description already, you can jump to 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go straight to the breakdown. The trailer starts off showing the damaged Infinity Gauntlet in a field on the farm planet. As the camera focuses in on the gauntlet, we hear Tony's voice. We were destined to lose. Epic music score starts. The Quinjet is shown landing in a Wakandan wasteland as we hear Steve Rogers say, "We have come so far." Tony and Nebula step off the jet as the remaining Avengers approach. Steve has a look of relief and says, "Tony." Tony, seemingly defeated, shakes his head and gives a friendly smirk back to Cap. Marvel Studios logo appears. We get a glimpse of the Battle of New York from 2012 Avengers. Loki is shown looking shocked and baffled as he is on top of the Stark Tower. There's a flash of a blue light as the camera pans back. Cuts to black. Next, we see the Wakandan Throne with M'Baku at the helm. He is surrounded by his new Kingsguard. Shuri and Banner are seen working on a new project in the lab. Black Widow in full gear is in Hawkeye's family home from Age of Ultron. Basically, everything is thrown all over the place and broken. Nat is studying some type of map with multiple photos and locations on it. A quick shot of Thanos is shown with a long sword walking down an alleyway in New York City. The next shot is a dark hooded figure with glowing eyes, aiming a bow and arrow before shooting towards the camera. It then shows 1 to 2 visuals of the quantum realm. Scott Lang with no suit on is shown running through a park dodging explosions. Shot of space. Thor and Valkyrie are aboard a Kree ship. Thor says, "If the stories are true, you're our universe's last hope, if such a thing even exists anymore." The next shot is an older, determined Tony Stark walking through the new S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, which is the Avengers facility in upstate New York. He's in full S.H.I.E.L.D. attire and carrying an orange briefcase. Banner, wearing spandex, is seen running from something, looking terrified. The next shot is Ant-Man appearing out of a flash of light and landing in a desolate place. We see it from his point of view from inside his helmet. He looks left to right and to his left again and says, "What in the?" Camera focuses on Vormir and its stars. Next, a shot of Rocket and Nebula modifying some new weapons in the lab. Rocket says, "When can we try this bad boy out?" They both smile at each other and fist bump. We get our first glimpse of Iron Man in his red and gold nanotech armor. Hulk falls from the sky and lands in front of him. Thanos, in full armor, smiles. Hulk smiles back. The next shot is in Japan. War Machine, Nat, and Steve in their full Avengers gear are surrounded by the Yakuza. Hawkeye, or Ronin, walks through everybody from behind them and approaches the Avengers. There's an intense exchange of looks between Clint and Natasha. The next shot is at the Sanctum. Wong is communicating with Doctor Strange's soul via portal. It cuts to black. Gray-haired Tony Stark and Ant-Man are in a post-apocalyptic New York City. The screen flashes back and forth multiple times through multiple scenes. We see Captain Marvel floating with her fists on fire and her eyes lit up. Thanos in the Soul Stone with young Gamora screaming at him. Loki and Thor are fighting off Chitauri together, and Tony handing Steve a brand new shield in the Wakandan Throne room. Cuts back to Tony and Scott. Tony opens the orange briefcase as Scott hands him an illuminated bracelet. Tony asks, "How is this even possible?" Iron Man and Ant-Man are shown traveling through the quantum realm. Tony and Scott are back in the Battle of New York from 2012. The final shot before the title reveal is an Infinity Stone disappearing from Thanos' damaged gauntlet. He abruptly gets up and puts on his armor. His face goes from extremely infuriated to a menacing smile. Title reveal: Avengers Annihilation. Then the stinger. The Hulk is training at the new S.H.I.E.L.D. facility with Black Widow and Steve. Steve notices that Hulk has been training non-stop as of late, so he asks why. Hulk responds in Banner's normal voice with, "My rematch is coming real soon. I can feel it." Okay, so we have a ton of stuff to break down from this trailer description. So let's just start from the beginning. Okay, so the trailer starts off showing the damaged Infinity Gauntlet in a field on the farm planet. This makes perfect sense because this is where Infinity War ended. It ended with Thanos on a distant planet on a farmland in a little hut, watching the sunrise, just like he told Doctor Strange he would do after he completed the snap. And of course the Infinity Gauntlet is damaged because Thanos did the snap, and the Russo brothers said it themselves that the gauntlet is in fact permanently damaged. So we hear Tony say we were destined to lose, and the Quinjet lands in Wakanda, and Steve Rogers says, "We have come so far." So this is clearly sort of a nod and a tribute to the last 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe of the Avengers being together. The trailer's going to have some of that aspect in it, referencing to the past 10 years, because this movie is going to be what wraps up the previous 10 years and starts a new future. So Tony and Nebula get off the jet and regroup with the remaining Avengers. Tony and Nebula were part of the heroes who were fighting Thanos on Titan, and after the snap, they were the only two that survived. The rest of the heroes were in Wakanda fighting Thanos' army and what was left of the children of Thanos. So this scene is going to be all of the remaining heroes regrouping. It's also going to be the first time in a really long time that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers will be seeing each other. They haven't spoken since the events of Civil War, and they never crossed paths in Infinity War, so it's been a really long time. But seeing as how half of the universe just got wiped away from existence, they need to regroup. So Steve says Tony, and Tony is seemingly defeated, shakes his head, and gives a friendly smirk back to Captain. Tony, of course, feels defeated after the events of Infinity War because this is something Tony has been planning for since 2012, since the events of the Battle of New York. So he had been preparing for years for this, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. Thanos won. So Tony is defeated on a few different levels. So the next part goes back to the Battle of New York from 2012 Avengers, and it shows Loki on top of the Stark Tower looking shocked and baffled, and there's a flash of a blue light as the camera pans back and then it cuts to black. So this is them introducing time travel. This is most likely why Loki is baffled and confused. He probably just saw Iron Man, who he is currently fighting, come out of some blue portal and look like the future version of himself. Or Thor's the one that goes back in time, so he sees his brother with short hair and a mechanical eye. And not to mention Stormbreaker. In the current time, Loki would be fighting Thor with very long hair and Mjolnir. So seeing his brother magically appear from a portal looking completely different would probably make him look pretty baffled. The next scene with Wakanda and its throne room with M'Baku at the helm makes a lot of sense because T'Challa is gone and M'Baku is probably the next leader in line to be Black Panther. Then we have Shuri and Banner working on something that is really not given any information about, but if I had to guess, I would say it has something to do with Vision. So this next scene is super important. We have Black Widow in her full gear in Hawkeye's family's home from Age of Ultron. In the home, everything is thrown all over the place and broken, and Nat is studying some type of map with multiple photos and locations on it. So I think the obvious thing that happened here is Hawkeye's family did not survive the snap. He was the only one, and once they were gone, he flipped out and basically destroyed his house, and then he left on some sort of mission. And Nat is somehow tracking him with whatever map that she currently has. The next shot of Thanos with a longsword in an alleyway in New York means that Thanos heads back to Earth. So unlike Avengers Infinity War, where most of the fighting took place on Titan and then in the end there at Wakanda, there will be some fighting in New York. And of course his long sword that they speak of we have seen in multiple leaked photos now. Then the next shot is a dark hooded figure with glowing eyes aiming a bow and arrow before shooting towards the camera. This is Ronin, not Hawkeye, Ronin. In the comics, Clint Barton experiences a traumatic event, Captain America dying. This causes him to hang up the mantle of Hawkeye and take on the persona of Ronin. It's been heavily speculated that his family dying will be the tragic event in Avengers 4 that makes him become Ronin, so if this leak is legit, that is in fact true. They show a few scenes of the Quantum Realm and Scott Lang, but then they show Thor and Valkyrie aboard a Kree ship. Thor says, "If the stories are true, you're our universe's last hope, if such a thing even exists anymore." Now clearly, they are talking to Captain Marvel. It seems like Thor and Valkyrie sought her out, and apparently they've heard stories, ones that I'm sure we'll see in Captain Marvel, telling how strong she is. So clearly they seek her out based on these stories that they've heard. I'm not sure how this falls into place with Nick Fury's space pager thing, but I'm sure he signals her and she comes in closer. Maybe she was off in a distant galaxy or something, got the message and came close. And that's when Thor and Valkyrie found her. We then have Tony Stark, decked out in S.H.I.E.L.D. gear, walking through the new S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, which is the Avengers headquarters in upstate New York, carrying an orange briefcase. Not sure what's in the orange briefcase, but with Nick Fury and Maria Hill gone, it would make sense that he would take over S.H.I.E.L.D. We've also seen some leaked photos where Tony is wearing some S.H.I.E.L.D. attire, so this matches up perfectly. The next scene that matters is Ant-Man appearing out of a flash of light, which is most likely him coming out of the Quantum Realm. We see this scene from his point of view from inside of his helmet, land in a desolate place. He looks around all confused and says, "What the?" and then it pans on Vormir and the stars. Now, the Soul Stone could have sent him there, but I'm guessing that these are probably two different scenes. The next shot is of Rocket and Nebula modifying some new weapons, just like Rocket likes to do. Clearly, him and Nebula have made some sort of new weapon that is going to be pretty effective against Thanos, or at least they think. Rocket says, "When can we try this bad boy out?" and they both smile at each other and fist bump. This is most likely added in the trailer to add a little bit of humor into it. We then get our first glimpse of Iron Man in his red and gold nanotech armor. Some people are believing this to be the Mark 51 armor. Hulk then falls from the sky and lands right in front of him. Thanos is in full armor and smiles. Hulk smiles back. This is clearly their rematch. And going by the stinger in the description, Hulk has clearly been training for this, which would explain why he smiles. And of course Thanos smiles because he thinks he can beat the Hulk with ease just like last time. So the next shot is in Japan and we have War Machine, Nat, and Steve in their full Avengers gear. Kind of feels like the Secret Avengers again. And they're surrounded by the Yakuza. They're most likely in Japan looking for Clint or Ronin. And he comes in and walks through everybody from behind them and approaches the Avengers. There's an intense exchange of looks between Clint and Natasha. So what it sounds like is happening is that Clint went to Japan and went undercover with the Yakuza. When he discovers the Avengers are there, he goes and he finds them, and this intense look that he gives Natalie is really just a signal that says that they're about to attack the Yakuza. The next part is really interesting because I've thought about this a lot before, because Wong isn't actually talked a lot about when it comes to Avengers 4 theories. But it shows him in the Sanctum communicating with Doctor Strange's soul via a portal. To me, this just makes sense. They are learned in the mystic arts. I'm sure they could figure out some way to talk to souls, and in fact, I'm sure that's actually part of Doctor Strange's plan. We then have a gray-haired Tony Stark and Ant-Man in a post-apocalyptic New York City. The screen flashes back and forth multiple times through multiple scenes. Again, in the trailer, they're most likely going to show a few times that they're going to time travel, which is most likely what we see here. Then we see Captain Marvel floating in the air with her fists on fire and her eyes lit up. Captain Marvel is said to be one of the strongest MCU characters, so it would make sense that she has a big important part in Avengers 4. The next scene is kind of big. Thanos is in the Soul Stone with young Gamora screaming at him. Clearly, Thanos loves Gamora and struggles with the fact that he had to sacrifice her to get the Soul Stone. Since he is the wielder of the Soul Stone, perhaps he can visit her, or perhaps he's trying to figure out a way to get her out of there. Then, Loki and Thor are fighting off the Chitauri together. This could be in the first Avengers movie in the Battle of New York, or it could be present time. I think a lot of people believe that Loki is still alive. He's the god of mischief. I don't know many people who actually think he's dead. And I think it'll be really cool to see him fight with Thor again. Tony hands Steve a brand new shield in the Wakandan Throne room, which is long overdue. Cap has been without his original shield since Civil War, so it's about time he picks it up again. And hopefully it's got some nanotech enhancement to it. It then shows Tony opening up the orange briefcase, and Scott hands him an illuminated bracelet in which Tony asks, "How is this even possible?" This is probably the first time that Tony finds out about time travel, because the next scene is him and Scott running through the quantum realm and ending up back at the Battle of New York from 2012. The last scene is a final shot of the Infinity Gauntlet showing an Infinity Stone disappearing. What I think happens here is Ant-Man takes it and then disappears into the quantum realm. At first, Thanos is infuriated and he puts on his armor preparing for battle, but then he smiles. I think he smiles because he kicked their butts the first time, with ease, and I think he's actually ready for a battle. The Infinity Gauntlet is damaged, so it probably won't be as easy for him, but I think that he likes that. I think he's looking forward to the challenge. So it cuts to the title, Annihilation. I don't think this is anything new. The title Annihilation came from some pretty reliable sources, and not just one, but multiple reliable sources. And then we have the stinger, which is after the credits, right before the trailer end, and we see Professor Hulk. Steve notices that the Hulk has been training non-stop as of late and asks why, and the Hulk responds in Banner's normal voice, obviously since he's Professor Hulk, and he says, "My rematch is coming real soon. I can feel it." It's pretty clear that both Banner and the Hulk are pretty ticked off that they lost to Thanos so easily in Avengers Infinity War. So it's pretty clear that they're ready to get their revenge. So there you have it, the Avengers 4 trailer description and breakdown. Not sure if this is true or not, but I must say, it's probably exactly what I want from the movie. It all seems to line up with everything that we know so far about Avengers 4 and everything that we hope will happen with Avengers 4. Nothing seemed too off about it, it all made perfect sense, it all flowed well, so this could be legitimate. And apparently the trailer is supposed to come in just a few weeks. That seems pretty short, but hey, you never really know. The Russo brothers did say that we'd see it after Captain Marvel. But let me know what you all think. What did you think about this description of the Avengers 4 trailer? And how excited are you to see it when it finally comes out? Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below with your thoughts on your favorite superhero so you can enter the giveaway and stay up to date with everything relating to Avengers 4. Thank you so much for watching. Woof woof.